Hey guys, AniMind here and welcome back to another speedpaint video. Today I'm actually going to be drawing something a bit more space oriented, a bit more sci-fi-ish, and if you notice the continents on this planet, it is Earth. And this has to do with my storyline, of course, and today I'm going to be talking a bit more about the geology of my storyline, if that makes sense. I'm going to be talking more about, in general, what's going on Earth, less about magic itself, and more about what happened before magic emerged. Because I feel that that's quite important too, because Earth isn't normal Earth when the non-magical era ends, because it's 2040. Of course, Earth is going to be at least a little bit different. And this is actually 2020 for this universe. Is actually this 2020 for Earth, but the only difference is there has been a boom in space travel, and thus with this much space travel there's a lot more space junk. As you can see, there's a ring around Earth and also an artificial moon, and this is all caused by satellites that have fallen, not fallen, but have been excluded from the rocket as soon as the rocket launches, because only 10% of a rocket, I've heard somewhere, I'm not 100% sure about this data, only 10% of the rocket is indeed enters space. The rest either falls back to Earth, orbits Earth, or something like that. So yeah, so of course there's a lot more waste that will be caused. If you want to have more information about this, then check out Kurzgesagt, which is a German science channel. Check out Kurzgesagt videos. You probably know of them if you are a bit of a science buff. And then it will be explained more in depth in that video how exactly space junk works and how satellites will cause space junk. But the one thing I realized that that video failed to mention was that as soon as there's a large amount of debris orbiting a planet, this debris will start forming a ring. And you might be thinking, no, but if the debris is in different places around the planet, the debris will cause more of a extra layer of the planet. But I have watched videos before where they explain that the reason why the Milky Way and most galaxies and even planets are on the same y-axis around their star, planet, or galactic center is because of how physics works and collision works. And the reason why something like a planet like Pluto, or dwarf planet like Pluto, is a little bit further away from the y-axis is because it was further away from the main debris, and that caused certain parallaxes, if I can say it like that. But yeah, just watch. I'm not really sure what the video's name was, but just search why is the Milky Way flat and stuff like that. I believe that will give you a video that explains the same thing. So yeah, that's basically the space geology of the planet that can be seen as a little bit more out of control of humans, although it is in control of humans, but you understand what I mean. Yeah, and apart from that, there is obviously more infrastructure on Earth, if you'll see later in this video, but that's close to the end, so I can't wait. There are much more lights than there will usually be visible from the atmosphere. There are also lights visible from the moon. I'm actually working on a project at the time that I'm recording this, because I'm recording this right after I drew this, on Mars, where there will also be a bit more lights than there usually is. So I'm just going to represent, because there was a boom in space infrastructure, so there needs to be proof that the space infrastructure was for something and not just to make cool rings and stuff like that. So yeah, so sorry about that. I do that sometimes, but yeah, as you can also see, the continents are a bit different shaped. I tried to make them a little bit more rigid, if you know what I mean. and to almost represent how they would look if water and sea levels rised, because obviously sea levels will rise a little bit, and if you look closely, there is less ice on the planet. Antarctica actually shows a bit of greenery on top of it. So I believe that by 2040, not all the ice would have melted. That's quite unrealistic, but some of Antarctica would maybe be visible, and life would do as life does, and start growing on Antarctica, because it's not really a bad climate. It's comparable with Alaska today, and as you can see, Alaska is almost not Alaska, but the northern parts of North America is almost entirely iceless, and only a small part of the North Pole and also Greenland is covered in ice, with Russia or obviously pretending a bit of ice. So I tried to look at the position of the Earth compared to the Sun, and try to represent how glaciers and stuff like that would look. If you look closely, as I wrote it just now, you'd also see that there's a bit of a brown layer, which is from pollution, obviously, but the upper layers are still blue because obviously stuff like methane, carbon dioxide and stuff like that, these gases are lighter, heavier than oxygen and nitrogen, so the fresher air will still be up in the sky. I sadly didn't add any clouds in because I tried that. I remember in previous drawings of the Earth, not this one, of course, and it usually just ends up looking really weird. And it's better to represent everything with a clear view rather than representing it like this. But apart from that, technology itself is basically the same. Obviously, phones have more storage. Technology has progressed basically at the same rate as it does now. Some technologies have slowed down, like cars are basically the same. There aren't any flying cars or something, because Back to the Future taught me that it's unrealistic to assume that technology would advance that quickly, because I believe technology will advance, but especially the closer we get to space travel and stuff like that, all of our advancements are going to be either space oriented or like really small, for smaller problems. They aren't going to be world life changing. They might be here and there, like cancer treatment would be life changing, but that wouldn't change our entire civilization. It'll just lower mortality rates. And so culture is really hard to affect. Sorry. And then what'll now I need to think. I'm really sorry. Specific technology that I think would be much more better advanced will be, for example, packaging would be better. Recycling would be much more commercial and less of a rare thing. Most plastics would be recycled, and our planet will be a bit more pollutant safe. And as you can probably see there, I have emanated the deserts a little bit to show that not only ice is melting, but the deserts are also forming more. But I didn't want to make most of Africa or most of the whole planet deserty, but I did make parts of Europe that aren't currently part of the desert a desert, and I did make South America a bit more deserty, because with all the forest fires and stuff like that, we have seen the Amazon lowering and stuff like that. But in general, the planet isn't in bad shape. It's just a little bit different than it was originally, and we've stabilized a lot more. Population growth. Kurzgesagt also has a great video on this. The population is around 8 to 9 billion. It's not that high, personally, I think, especially considering the past few years' growth. I think that our civilization could cope with it. That's all the time I have today. Please leave a like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Comment down below, and my Mars video is going to come soon, where I talk a bit more about the geology of this universe. Thank you and goodbye.